was starting a Bubble app from scratch, here's what I'd do. First, I'd define the purpose of my app or piece of software and the outcomes that I want it to provide to my users. Then, I'd figure out the exact data types that I need to capture, things like user data, any projects, profiles, whatever it may be in the actual app's architecture itself. And I'd use that to formulate the data types. Within those data types, I'd put together the fields. By putting the database together to begin with, I have a solid foundation for the rest of my app to grow and build around it. After I'd completed the database structure, I'd then start to work on the design for the app. Use a tool like Figma to design the user interface, or I'd pay someone on Fiverr or Upwork to design something for me if I don't have the design skills. Once the design is ready to go, I'd make sure that the features within my app match the data structure that I'd already defined. Assuming everything matches, I can then start to build in the workflows, which is all the functionality and navigation for the app. Then use the new Bubble Figma import system to import components of my UI design into my Bubble app. Then tie in things like navigation and set up things like user authentication so that the user can log in and log out of their account, as well as sign up and reset their password. Once I had all the core components and navigation structure and database set up for my app, I can then start to design the other components and pages in my app to make sure that I design it as close to the Figma design as possible. Once I had all of my design imported from my Figma into my Bubble app, I can then start to build up the workflows for the actual features, making sure that everything works as I go along by conducting module testing where I test each feature as I build it. Once I had all of my workflows defined, I'd then do a full run through from start to finish, signing up as a new user, logging out, logging in, resetting my password, and then making sure that all of my features work as expected with no bugs or issues. I'd also make sure that the database is being written to correctly. So if I sign up as a new user, I want to make sure I'm capturing things like first name, last name, telephone number, and also any data that we're creating in the app during regular use. I can then look to implement privacy rules which dictate who can access the data and protect user data and privacy. Privacy rules in Bubble are really powerful ways to prevent people accessing data that they shouldn't, for example, preventing John Smith from accessing Sally Jones's account data unless they're allowed to. I'd define my privacy rules for each feature, and then I'd do some more modular testing just to make sure that my new privacy rules aren't over restrictive or under restrictive and causing any problems with the app. Once I've implemented all of my privacy rules for all of my features and my different user stories, I'd make sure I do one final test of the app from end to end, making sure that everything looks correct, works correct, and there's no data issues. Once I have my finished product, I can run the new Bubble Privacy Rule Checker and Security tool, which makes sure your app is secure and your privacy rules are set up correctly and there's no data leakage. Once that's all done, I'll be ready to invite my first beta testers to my new app and start my business from there.